Yes, you eat it and it's like nap time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's the uncertainty that scares you the most.
Yeah, we're not talking about like any other sport, right? We're talking about soccer.
This is correct, and the passions can run very high.
Yes.
8 billion people in the world, right?
Flat one?
One is they don't want to serve alcohol at the stadiums.
What?
At the stadiums.
I think the whole Minnesota has heart problems.
That was one of the craziest games. Kirk went in there. He went into the Urkel machine and came back out Kirko.
Going out to lunch, and I went to the elevator here in our building.
Obviously, we're real estate agents in our careers.
We got you.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to our third episode of Weekly Deposits. I have with me here Emran Baha and Jason Gonzalez with Superior Realty Group. And we're going to dive into a lot of different things that's going on today. All right?
Hey, everyone. Welcome back. New viewers. Welcome to have you guys. I think we want to get started with some highs, right?
Yeah, let's go over some highs.
Some highs. So we're going to get into some other stuff here in a little bit, real estate-wise and other news-wise, but I think we are all still hyped off of that Vikings game.
Oh, 100%.
Like, my adrenaline is still running.
Dude, I think I have heart problems after.
I think the whole Minnesota has heart problems.
That was one of the craziest games I have ever witnessed. And there was times during that game, and especially in the first half, where I was like, I don't want to watch no more.
Yeah.
It's kind of done.
Yeah. Do you think this solidified the Vikings as a Super Bowl contender? What do you guys think?
I think so.
Yeah, I don't want to jinx anything, but like they got to be taken seriously. And I saw the ESPN like Super Bowl contender crap they put out.
Yeah.
And the Vikings were second tier, which
to the
offended
Eagles,
me.
To the Eagles that just lost.
No. They had some other teams in that first tier. Eagles, Kansas City Chiefs,
yeah.
Some other teams that they had in that first tier Super Bowl picks, and we were in the second tier, and I was like, I think you guys got to put some respect on their name.
The disrespect is crazy.
Yeah. Which is like, and the switch, like, I love the mentality of these Vikings. Like the switch during second half.
It's got to be the coach. It's got to be the coach.
No matter what the first half is, when we were having a terrible game first half, and a lot of games we were having terrible first halves. And, Kirk went in there. He went into the Urkel machine and came back out Kirko. I don't know. I'm like,
I think it also goes into a culture shift.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's new blood. It's new coaches that's in there.
Young coaches.
Well, yeah, I think young coaches are taking over the league, but I mean,
they understand the league better now.
They do. Yeah. It's more of an offensive league, but
pass friendly.
Real quick, in real estate, that's happening too.
Yes,
young guys.
Yes, and I was just going to get into that. Like, what they're doing right now is you can take that with business, too. Like, if you bring in someone new, fresh ideas and all that, like, hunger, like, it can change the whole dynamic
of your
organization.
Yes.
And I think that's happening right now. I know that's what's happening right now with the Minnesota Vikings. So it's great to see what's going on. I think their chemistry right now is off the charts. I think they got the best chemistry in the whole NFL right now.
No, I agree, and I think we have the best receiver in the league by far.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing for me, I don't want to see you bandwagon fans when we do make it. I want you guys to stay where you are at. All these years, I stayed a Vikings fan, and I'm going to say that right now.
Yeah, same here. Win or lose, and there's been a lot of losing.
No, there has been, but we're excited, but I think the one thing as Vikings fan is we never really get our hopes too high.
No.
We're excited for a good season.
They got me again.
They
got me again.
I think that's
and obviously we're gonna make the playoffs. We're gonna make the playoffs.
Green Bay just lost.
Correct. So I think our schedule for the most part, I think the hardest team we have left is probably the Jets. I want to say.
And then
we got the Cowboys.
Yeah. Cowboys, Jets, probably the two hardest team. The Pats, they're not what they used to be.
No, they ain't.
Yeah. So and then the rest is in our division, which is looking very weak.
Yeah, it is.
So it's like I think we can get a very good first round team, right? Obviously, we have to avoid the Eagles, especially the Eagles at home at their place.
Yep.
But other than that, I still think, sorry to kind of like take it back, but the Eagles game was kind of like iffy on a few
was week
calls.
2.
Like they were at home. It was
week. It was week 2. It was still early on in the season. It's just like, like come on now. It's more respectable if you beat harder teams and you're still like have a winning record later in the season than earlier in the season. To me,
that's figuring it out.
That's what I'm saying. You're figuring it out now.
Yep.
You've seen.
I'd rather get hot during the end of the season.
Yep.
Going into the playoffs than be hot in the beginning.
And unfortunately, that's what we've seen with the Vikings.
Correct.
Sometimes it's like 6-0.
Correct.
5-0. I pray that we come back to visit this podcast and the Vikings are like Super Bowl champs.
But isn't it crazy though? Like you remember when we had that
I had
the
to
catch
laugh because it's not real.
the Minneapolis Miracle. Remember when that happened? And the whole I would say the whole state was on fire. Like I kind of feel like that momentum.
And that was like, what was that? A playoff game, right? Just the first round of the playoffs.
We lost to the Eagles next game in NFC Championship.
Correct. So it's like
we got spanked.
If we get hyped off of the first round playoffs win, imagine some other things. Yeah, we did.
It was bad. And Eagles fans are terrible.
It's okay. It's okay.
I don't even want to get near one.
I mean, in my mind, the Gary Anderson kick was like the pinnacle of like just to quote Homer Simpson, dough moment. Yeah. Dough. Like this guy didn't miss all season and he misses like, oh God, don't quote me on this, but a 30, 40 yard or something like that and 98. And us and the Broncos had the best winning records and everyone picked us to play the Broncos in the final and it ended up being the Falcons versus the Broncos in the final. And man, well, whatever. Okay. Yeah. So kind of transition into another sport that's going to start happening this week is the 2022 World Cup in Qatar is going to begin on Sunday. The opening game of Ecuador versus Qatar. The World Cup is obviously the biggest sporting event in the world. Big. Obviously, we're here in America, so we're kind of bubbled into the Super Bowl and stuff like that. But this is a world event of epic proportions. And, I know you guys don't have the biggest soccer knowledge, but USA is in a group with England, Iran, and Wales. So 2 English-speaking countries, plus obviously the U.S., and then Iran, which is a country, the West in particular, the U.S. has some frosty type relationships with it. And Iran's obviously going through their own internal conflicts right now in regards to their young population and their government. But regardless of that, I think the other thing I want to talk about in regards to the 2022 World Cup is the first time it's being held in the Middle East, the first time a Muslim country is hosting, and there's been some changes, and I want to get your guys' takes on these changes. One is they don't want to serve alcohol, in particular beer, at the stadiums.
What?
At the stadiums. And I see good and bad in this. So it's like I want to get your guys' take first.
Let's start with the good. What do you see good?
Well, the good is, trust me, when sports fans or in particular soccer fans, I don't know if you guys seen the movie Green Street Hooligans, when they have too much to drink and it's too passionate, too emotional, too intense, things can tend to break out and things you don't want to happen, especially in a very tight run regime country like Qatar.
Yeah, we're not talking about like any other sport, right? We're talking about soccer.
This is correct, and the passions can run very high.
Yes.
Which is like to say it's like there's obviously passions run very high in football and this and sports here, right? There's some die-hard fans where it's like if you say something, those are fighting words.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's the
Eagles.
whole thing. Yeah, Eagles.
Yeah.
Well,
I
whatever.
think they're the only team, but it gets like that. It kind of gets like
No,
that
it
with
gets
the
like
soccer
that.
world.
But the soccer world is on another level.
It's
right?
like that, but just like a taste of the Eagles.
And there's a lot of so they still have alcohol in designated areas and hotels and restaurants and stuff like that. They just don't want to serve it. And this is a very close U-turn because they agreed initially to do it, and a week before starting, they just U-turned. And I think the organization or the company that's most reeling from this is Budweiser. Budweiser is saying, we had a $75 million contract in regards to us serving our product at these stadiums. And now this is, they actually tweeted, this is a little bit awkward. So it kind of is, right?
That's an L.
Because Qatar did agree to all of the stipulations that the organization of FIFA had. Yeah. So there is the pros and cons, but it's also another question of like when you're coming to my house, right, Julian or Jason, do you not respect the rules and stuff of my house?
Yep.
If I take off my shoes,
I mean, not everyone, but
in the house, right? But if I take off my shoes in my house and I say, Jason, Julian, there's no alcohol allowed in my house, and this is a this and that, you would come respectfully. You would spend your time there. Hopefully, you have fun, and then you would leave.
Yep.
Right? You don't have to come back. If I invited you, you don't have to come back on your own. So that's my other also take on it.
What is? I guess I haven't looked into that, but have you looked into like how many people compared to how many like native people from that country are going to go to that game?
Yeah.
Because if it overpowers that like everyone is from other countries are coming, I understand. Like I totally understand.
Well, here's this World Cup has been marred with controversy. Like just controversy after controversy. First of all, we're talking about a World Cup in winter, right? Normally the World Cups are played in summer, but due to Qatar's climate and everything, they had to play this in winter. A lot of people felt that Qatar bribed their way to win this thing. And the craziest part is normally they have a World Cup in a big country. Last one was in Russia, right? So stadiums can be cities apart. The next one is in Canada, USA, and Mexico together. So between all three countries, they will have games. But there's space between games, right? So it's like if one game's in New York, the other game's in LA, blah, blah, blah. Here in Qatar, the size of the city is like Minneapolis and St. Paul. So the size is very small. So all of the games...
It could get destroyed.
all of the games are being played within a very small, radius.
Yeah. I just think that with a lot of people that's going to be spending a lot of money that's coming out there, I think that it's going to be a bad thing if you don't serve alcohol, because then people are gonna abuse it. And I guess like how much on average would a ticket to this event be?
Oh, it's you're talking cost of flight, you're talking cost of accommodation, you're talking cost of games. So I have
maybe 5,000.
Yeah, I have a buddy that's going, and that's probably in excess, and hasn't even gone yet. Is leaving tomorrow. He's probably spent in excess of 5,000.
5,000. So
yeah, that's just on accommodations, flight, and tickets to 2 games.
Right. That's 2 games. So and I completely understand what they're doing.
Yep.
But I just think a lot of people is going to abuse it.
No, of
course.
Course.
Spending that much money, and I think that's where they're going to run into some issues.
And
let's just be realistic.
You have to find that balance between you want to respect your country, your society, your culture, your everything, but at the same time you're welcoming the world to your doorstep. And sometimes they're going to want to do things,
it might be
especially the Western society want to do things that is just isn't the norm there.
Right.
So they're gonna have to find some middle ground. Hopefully they have a good World Cup, and everything goes well. Of course, we're gonna be rooting for the U.S. Hopefully they do well in their group. Yeah. Hey guys, just wanted to take this minute to shout out our sponsors, Tono Pizzeria Plus Cheesesteak, the best pizzas and cheesesteaks in all of Minnesota. I guarantee it. Their pizzas are wood fire grill. Restart that. All good. Brick oven grill. Their pizzas are brick oven grill. Their Philly cheesesteaks are authentic. They fly their rolls in from Philly themselves with Amoroso rolls. I promise you guys, they are so good. They have 4 locations right now. They're opening their 5th here soon. The locations are Maplewood, St. Paul, Coon Rapids, Woodbury, and soon to be Chanhassens. Please visit Tono Pizzeria Plus Cheesesteaks. I guarantee you, my favorite is the margarita or the sunny side up Philly. So you guys go over there, check them out. Great food. 8 billion people in the world. Take that number in. 8 billion people now on the planet we call home Earth.
Damn.
Right?
The flat one? No, I'm just playing.
Hey, what is that? X-Files, dude? I really dated myself there with the X-Files reference.
Yo, X-Files used to scare me.
Oh my god.
Low key, it was just a theme song.
No, yeah, it was so much suspense for really nothing. I was like, okay, a little like tangent, like off topic, because we're talking about 8 billion people, but like the thing about scary movies or those X-Files or all of these stuff, and this kind of ties into real estate and what I always tell to my clients, it's the uncertainty that scares you the most.
Yeah, that's true.
They never show you the alien, the ghost, or in regards to that one Netflix series about the people moving in, what was it called? The Watcher?
The Watcher.
They never show you that person or thing or whatever. It's the uncertainty your mind creates.
Yeah,
that is like...
Yeah, it's always the music, right? Like the suspenseful music right
yeah,
before.
but it's also your mind creates such an uncertainty thing that when they finally show you, if some movies do show you the alien or the monster or whatever the case may be, it's like it's nothing that your mind created, because you're like, oh, okay, it's that. It's like some monster with a bunch of teeth or some alien, but because it's like, oh, okay, but the uncertainty, if they never show you, then you're just like, what is it? So that's
kind of like Stranger Things did that to like with the beginning episodes. Like, what the fuck is this?
Strange. That's how I got hooked on the show.
But no, that's how they create. And what I tell my clients sometimes is like when they get an offer, I'm like, listen. So the certain thing is we have this offer, this person, this thing. The uncertain thing is we go out there and we try to fish for some other offer and this and that.
Right.
So it's that game you have to play. Is the uncertainty a better reward for the risk? Because the uncertainty can be you don't get any offer.
Right.
You don't get that high offer again. And now you got to settle and that other person has moved on. Right? Because that's the uncertainty.
That hurts when
or the uncertainty can be you get a way better offer. Right? Because that's what kills you inside is the uncertainty. The certain thing is we have this offer. What do we do with this offer?
Yep.
Right. One thing I would say is just like the fifth, I would look at it like ratios, right? So like 50-50 chance when you're super uncertain, right? Like your heads or tails. But like when you have the gist of like the market, right? Of what's going on, or you have an expert on your side of what's going on, like it turns into from a 50-50 to maybe 80-20. So it's like, it's like, it's up to us to like really, really get our buyers to understand like the market.
Correct.
So that they're
but no matter
totally.
how professional we are, how great we are at our jobs, no matter what, unfortunately, none of us can predict the future. None of us can predict that uncertainty. No. And we can use the data, we can use our experience,
trends that's happening,
anecdotal, right? So like our clients are like right now we can have like a seller or like a buyer really get a W on a sale instead of like the seller on the seller side, like it has been for the last 2-3 years. So.
Yes, we can. I mean, there's a lot of different things. Okay, sorry, a little like side quest we went on there, but back to 8 billion people, right? A crazy number, because I think they had some statistic where we jumped up by a whole 2 billion within the last 20 years, like a billion or two, and that is to me is like. Now, I guess the real question does come to is all these people need housing. No.
I like that tie-in.
No.
I like what you did there.
Yeah. No, I think the thing is how does this all play on the planet? How does this play with, climate change? How does this play with resources? How does this play with what you sent us in the group message a few weeks ago in regards to drinking water? And how does this show our future, right? And it's I don't want to tie it to an Avengers movie, a whole Thanos type thing. It's like is the population too much? Is it still good? Are we still okay with the resources? And I want you guys to kind of see where you guys are at. I obviously have my opinion.
Yeah.
But I want to see what you guys think. What do you guys think in regards to this?
I'm getting hot.
number called 8 billion.
I think that
Are we
it's.
still rolling?
Yeah, just pop the window.
Yeah,
Hold on. Let him pop the window, and then because we'll edit this out.
Okay.
Yep.
I forgot that it was closed.
I did too. I thought it was.
At all, or
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, well, you'll edit that part out. Okay.
No, it's one take, Jay. Anyway.
How we had opened the window.
Yeah. Okay. So I want you guys to tell me what you think of this headline of 8 billion people in the world.
I don't think that it's a crazy amount that people say that it is. I mean, how many parts of the world are undiscovered?
a lot.
Is it a lot?
There's a lot of.
Yeah,
there's a lot of.
I don't know. I'm questioning it. I don't know. Is it? I think it's more like obviously there's some parts that are undiscovered, but I don't think it's a lot.
Well,
obviously, if you put the oceans.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, that
Into
only
it.
30% of the ocean's actually discovered.
Yeah. I mean, okay, if you put the oceans into it, that I understand that. But as regard to landmass, I don't feel like it's like, is there really a crazy amount? And I don't know. Someone please, if in the comment section, correct me.
From what I've seen, is just like a lot of farmland just in the United States alone that hasn't been like developed.
Yeah.
So, but that's
okay.
another
So
thing too,
hold
is like
on. Is like
farmland though.
Yeah.
You know
It's
what I'm
like
saying?
development.
We need that though.
No,
to
hold on.
survive, too.
Development.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, just think of
development-wise-
Minnesota. Just think of where we're at right now.
Development wise is like that's like, okay, you want your urban cities to develop. The other spots you need for farming and this, and that's why there's zoning commissions, right? There's there's retail here, there's housing here, there's farming / agriculture. Thank you. Agriculture there. So there's different stuff. So it's like you have to have. I think so. Recently, I went to Dubai, and I think the biggest thing they have against Dubai in regards to the government and everything like that is like the roads are too crazy. Like it just takes too long to get across the block, this and that. The roads are very crazy, the one way, this, that. So they need to change that. So that's why it's like city planning comes to the forefront. You have to have good city planning.
Right.
And so it's like maybe here we have good city planning, but does a country like India or does a country, with a lot of people have good city planning? China. China's probably a little bit more in the advancement than, India. Same with India. But
it's like it's always been like as you kind of figure it out as you go, right? Because it's like as population grows, your infrastructure starts to kind of grow with it. It's never like you're not because I remember.
But I think it's the resources too, right?
Right. Yeah. But it's just like I always see like
housing,
population growing, but then they figure it out in the afterwards. Like it takes a couple maybe a decade to catch up with population. Yeah. So,
but I think you want to figure out before it happens, right? Like you don't want to kind of have it surprise. Yeah. You want to figure out before it happens, and you want to make sure your population is at a. It's such a weird like balancing act to have your population.
It is because it's like, like environmental. We look at environment. We have to separate that, right? Like environmental versus are we underpopulated?
But let's take into.
Well, do you think we're underpopulated?
I think we're underpopulated as humans, right? As a human species, we're underpopulated. But
you think so with 8 billion?
Yes, we are underpopulated, but
I think over.
I think
no, I don't think over or under in regard. I think it could potentially be over because I think the resources is there for everyone. I think the the resources, everything is there. But how our society works is a very few get to have a lot of the resources. Yeah. And a lot of the people get to have very little of the resources. Right? So there's a very few with a lot.
Would you say that's access, a culture of access?
That's a culture of a lot of things. Because
it's just like
that's a culture of a lot of things. There's access.
Because if we grow as population, then we're underpopulated in my belief, right? But then if you then keep growing the population, but don't change the culture of don't live in access, don't do things
But
that
it's
ruin
hard.
the
It's
world,
hard,
and then
Jason.
you have to change the whole
Hey.
mindset.
Jason, that is so hard for people to live in excess and then to downgrade them. I promise you.
I'm not trying to
the
change.
guy,
I'm
the
not
guy,
trying to change that, but
the
that's,
guy
I just
who's
noticed.
flying free class and ask him to co-fly coach. It's
Hey,
like,
he ain't
and if he,
doing-
and
he ain't
if he
doing
had,
that.
if he had the choice,
I'm only stating what I see, man.
No,
and
of
how we can
course.
fix it. But
No,
I mean,
of course.
humans will be humans.
Of course, humans will be humans.
Humans
It's
are
like,
gonna be humans.
It's like
Yeah.
we want to have this optimistic view of the world, right? We
Yeah.
want to have this like
Right.
type of world where it's like, hey, people are like, hey, I can only use this much, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it is what it is.
Right.
So moving on past that, I think next week is Thanksgiving.
Yeah, Thanksgiving.
You guys excited? What do you guys have planned?
I have a lot of nothing planned, except a meeting with Spire the day before. So I haven't really been planning too much with my family, but I am just gonna keep it low key. I'm not gonna worry about myself planning anything this year. It's more of just staying career focused and letting my family take care of it. I'm just there for the good food. I'm just there for the good food, and then on top of that, just seeing my aunts, uncles, and,
Yep.
and my grandma that I haven't seen in a while. But I'm just that's my thing. I just seeing the distant family that I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, Thanksgiving for my family is one of the biggest times of the year that we get together and eat food.
Where do you guys have a regular place you meet? Do you switch it up every year?
Yeah, so so it's split in half and half of my family. I got a lot of family in Illinois, so I either go there, but this year unfortunately we're not. So a lot of my family that's here in Minnesota, we're just gonna just eat here.
Gotcha.
Probably, most likely at
Is
my
it very
mom's house.
is it a very traditional meal in regards to turkey? This
Turkey,
that.
candy yams, mac and cheese.
Gotcha. So it sounds very traditional.
Yeah,
It sounds very like
soul
you
food,
eat
yeah.
it and it's like nap time. After.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's definitely low
I love
vibration
it.
food.
I'm
You
gonna be
take a nap.
honest. I'm gonna be 100% honest. We don't celebrate Thanksgiving, even though it's not a very religious holiday. We do kind of in a way because it's a very I think it's the one holiday where it's like I like the concept of it, being thankful, being grateful, and sometimes in this society we don't have that. We're always like, what don't I have? What can I get? This and that, rather than be like, you know what? I'm very thankful for what I do have.
Correct. What you have right now?
Yes. So we do celebrate it from time to time. We sometimes get turkey, sometimes chicken, sometimes this, sometimes that. But I think what we really, really like it is that we get to be with family. It's
That's
a
the
day
biggest
where
Yeah.
for the most part,
thing.
capitalism stops.
The two big F's. The two big F's, right? Family and food.
Family and food, right? It's like, it's huge. And it's like, I love it because, again, it's like for the most part, capitalism, like bills and money and all this stuff that obviously is, important in today's society stops for a moment and we can get to really be
just slow down.
thankful. Yeah, thankful of the people, the food, the blessed we are to live, here, to do the things we do here because... I've been around the world. It can be a lot worse.
So we have the support from our family.
Yep.
And I also don't want to skip or forget the fact that we're here because of you guys. And I thank you guys for being amazing clients.
Yes.
Thank you.
Supporting us through all the ups and downs. And we just look forward to keeping this going year after year. So
let's talk about some real estate. Obviously, we're realtors. We wanted to keep Weekly Deposit very open about all of our stuff.
The
things like
nitty
that.
gritty.
Right? We wanted to Obviously, we're real estate agents and our careers.
We got you.
So I'm gonna pass the mic. I'm gonna ask these guys what are some current deals you've worked on, some past deals, some stuff that's where you can kind of provide value and resonate with the audience in regards to this climate, in regards to selling and buying real estate, whether that be I'm going to live in this property, right, as my primary residence, or I'm going to invest in this property.
Well, I think that we just totally swept something under the rug, and we need to give a big congrats to Jason on locking up his first deal. As a new agent, man.
No, I'm humbled. I'm definitely humbled.
A great deal too.
A great deal at that.
Great
man.
deal.
I think that we should just dive into that. And how
can
that
I say one
relationship-
thing? Isn't it funny where you find deals?
Yeah.
Isn't it like
and I wanna
super
touch base-
ironic, like
I
where
wanna
it's
touch
like
on that.
deals
I
come
do.
from
Right.
sometimes?
Yeah,
Right.
I do want to touch on that.
Okay, but
I think it's perfect.
yes,
Yeah.
touch on it, and we'll kind of talk about that. But let's start with Julian. Julian, I want your take on what kind of the market is once you speak in regards to some of your deals, some of the stuff, some of the stuff that's working for you, some of the stuff that's not, some stuff that's different. I'll provide some facts, and then we'll get to Jason in regards to his awesome deal and how he came about that deal, and a little bit of insight into what's kind of going on with his deal.
Yeah, so I can definitely dive into that.
Yep.
Right now, the market, it's just with me and other agents that I've been talking to, is very, very buyer heavy. The ones that are not scared of the interest rate that we've coached and are getting out there in the market, we're getting closing costs paid for.
And do they see that as a value, Julian? The fact that, like, yes, they know what the interest rate is, right? They're going into the market knowing what the interest rate is. But they also see the value in regards to seller concessions, inspections,
and
a better price to pay.
Yes, yeah. Well, even that, I wouldn't say some, but most of the offers that we've been getting under listing price too.
Yeah.
So I think that right now is a huge opportunity, and we touched on a little bit in the last episode, but a huge opportunity for buyers in the market to get on it. You know, if you're on the fence, like, I don't know if I want to, mess around with those interest rates, do it now, because mark my words, when it goes down, I'm talking about interest rates, when it goes down to like 5 or 4.5,
prices will go back up.
Prices are going to go back up.
Seller concessions gone.
You can kiss that seller concessions goodbye.
And competition?
Competition is going to go back up.
Yes.
Right now is the downtime, and people are scared, but it's going to get back to being how it was a year or two ago.
Question real quick. What do you do when you buy right now and then the interest rate comes down?
Well, yeah, of course you refinance.
Refinance.
So
That's
I think
the big thing.
the thing internally we've always been saying between us all is like you can your sales price, your seller concessions, all that stuff will stay the same, the full amount of the loan term or whatever, right? Because it's like you're not going to change the sales price. If I bought the house for $500,000, it's going to be $500,000, right? But the interest rate can change.
Yeah, you can change that.
It can change down the line when interest rates drop again, and they will. That's just what markets do. They go up, they go down. When interest rates drop again, you refinance. Now, I know that starts your loan period over again. Yeah. I completely understand that. But my thinking, to me personally, and again, other people have different thinking, and there's no right or wrong answer in this. Me personally, I don't know what's going to happen in 30 years. When I'm getting a 30-year mortgage, I don't know if I'm going to be alive, this, that, if I'm going to move, this, that. So it's like, to me, that's
being a realist.
Yeah. I'm going to get a 30-year mortgage, and I'm going to deal with it. And as things come, whatever happens in 30 years, because God knows I don't know what's going to happen in 30 years, because 30 years is a long time. Oh, yeah. So this whole like notion of like, oh, I'll get into this loan, this might be my only home, this and that. Yeah. A lot of things in life change. So maybe you'll get into a better home. Maybe you'll get into a better interest rate. Maybe this and that.
It's rare that someone
One thing I can guarantee you, one thing I can for sure guarantee you is your mortgage payment would be better than your rent payment. Yeah. So with that being said, thank you for sharing, Julian. I want to kind of now move it over to Jason to tell us about his deal, his amazing deal that he kind of is in the process of. And you tell us a little bit about how it feels with your first deal, the stuff you've seen in regards to like how you the process works, what you knew, what you didn't know. And I want you to be very candid, very open, right? Because I think people appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I come from sales. I worked at T-Mobile before I started real estate, and I started my cleaning company, which also helped me, be in homes every single day. So it gets me comfortable to just be in homes and just talking to people. It doesn't really get me nervous anymore. So it's a skill that you do have to really hone in on initially, right, before you start like real estate. But with me, I was just more like, oh man, like I know that this starting a new business, it could take 6 months to a year even. But I just kept doing, what the most successful real estate agents
Consistency.
do. Yeah, consistency, following up, you know, like
everything, business,
making it
health.
personal. Yeah, so
You know, if you're lifting, shout outs to Alec Bircher on Bircher Films. He does a lot of weightlifting and everything like that, and he always tells us consistency, reputation. That's a reputation. Repetition and consistency.
Yeah.
Okay, English is like a third or fourth language, guys. All right.
So like I kept going through just, you know, consistent. You know, it hasn't panned out for like, you know, like all my hard work and everything that I've done on the behind the scenes that you guys don't know yet, and I'll touch on that later on. But when I do reap the benefits of that, because it is hard work.
You're planting seeds, sir.
Yeah. Yep, it is. It's planting seeds, right? So, but the thing is that I knew that from the get-go, like anyone is going to be an opportunity. And not an opportunity for dollar signs, but an opportunity to help somebody with their current situation.
Yes, provide value. Thank you.
Providing value, because that's and Superior Realty Group, that's basically what we live by. It's just providing value. We're not providing like the service. We're providing you a value to figure out your situation. So basically, I was just going out to lunch, and I went to the elevator here in our building in Lower Town, St. Paul. I met my client in this building, and he actually has his own practice here in the same building. And so I was talking to him like, just, hey, how you doing? And he was just like, you know, like, good, how are you? And I was like, oh, you work here? He was like, yeah, I'm 2 floors above you. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. What do you do? And then we got into talking, and it was just very, very genuine, very brief. And we parted ways, and that was the end of that, right? So, but he knew. I initially told him,
you planted a seed.
Yeah, you planted a seed, but you never want to be a secret agent, right? So you never want to just have that casual conversation and then just be about your way. You have to subtly, or like you have to like let them know what you're doing or what you do for a living, because just like he told me what he does, I have to let him know what I do, so that way we could potentially open doors. You had a purpose of
your conversation, right?
Yeah, there was exactly.
Okay, sorry to kind of cut you off, but the purpose of his conversation was to let this person know what he does and essentially what value he can provide to this person. Now, against that, he can just be a great person, a great friend, a great confidant, a great neighbor, a great, you know, in the same building type person, but he also, on top of all that, can provide them value. Continue.
Yeah. And that was the main thing. Just be genuine, be upfront, and really just be humble to the fact that other people are going through things, and you came into this industry to really fix those problems, or like solve those problems, or be a resource to those problems.
Yep.
And so I let it be. A couple days later, we saw each other in the parking lot. I was in my car texting, and he just walked by and he tapped on my window, and he was like, "Hey, I know you." And I was just like, "Hey, da da da." And that day went by, and then all of a sudden he came into the office randomly, right?
Yeah.
You were here, Julian.
Yeah.
And Julian,
did he like the setup? Did he say anything about the setup? I'm always asking people about the setup.
He was actually like, he had this look on his face where I was like, am I going to find him here? Or like, where is he at? Because we're kind of quiet. It's more like a private type of office here. It's like by appointment, right? But
yeah. And, you know, obviously post COVID, it's you don't get as many.
Easing.
Yeah, you don't get as many like walk-ins and this and that. It's more, you know, virtual stuff, which is okay.
Yep. So,
walk-ins are welcome though.
Oh yeah, they are. It's just like we're adjusting to that. But basically, it's just, you know, like he came in, and initially he was like, hey, I want to take my business and I want to invest in the condos, and I want to put my patients in there and help them, you know, with living expenses and also offer my services. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll put you on search, this, that, and the other. I got all the details and everything. Then he hits me with 2 days later after that. He's like, oh, check out this property for me. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. I'll check out. I'll check
I'm your agent.
I'll check that out. No worries. I'll go through all the descriptions and go through all the documents and everything for you to make sure that it's the right area, right fit for you and your family. The thing about it is that I opened it up on MLS, and I was just like, this guy is a buyer. This guy is going to sell his house to buy a really expensive, more than $500,000 home. And I'm just like, Did I really hit the jackpot here? Like what happened? Like what? It just you never know when you never.
Well, I think that he's seen value in you.
Yeah.
He liked your vibe. He liked that you responded quickly.
It almost seemed like
everything.
to be completely honest, and I'm sure other agents will like tell you like, hey, I did this, I did that, and the other. I was just myself. I was genuine, and I knew that I had a purpose coming into this industry, helping people, and to this day, I don't think it's real just because
and
it's
that's,
like,
yes.
you know, it's like.
That's all you can be is genuine, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we want at Superior Realty Group. So. You know, when Jason came and everything, we always said, just be genuine, you know, just be yourself.
Be yourself. Everyone's not going to like you.
Yes.
You know?
And that's just what it is.
And that's
unique,
okay.
And that's okay. Yeah. There's people that are not going to like you, but there's going to be a lot of people that do like you.
Yep. Yeah.
But we always want to be there. We want to be humble, humility. We always want to provide value. We always want to help people. And I think the signing off note is you never know who you're going to talk to, who you're going to meet.
You never know.
Who you're going to come in contact with and how that person could potentially change your life. So I want people to be much more open in their conversations when they're going through an elevator. Talk with that person next to you when they're always chat with people. Try to find out. Don't have some ulterior motive of like you wanting to sell them or this or that.
People can sense that.
Be genuine. Want to know about people. I think the thing I'm going to sign off on here is the new host of Jeopardy, Ken Jennings, right? A show I used to watch a lot. Alex Trebek used to be the host, and the guy who won the most money ever on Jeopardy was named Ken Jennings. And they asked him one day, they're like, Ken, how do you know all of this stuff? And do you read a bunch of books? Do you watch a bunch of documentaries, this and that? And his answer was, no, I just talk to a lot of people. And people have information, a wide range of people. You know, no matter if you think some person has no information to give you, they do. They have some valuable information. Something where you can store away, and that's how you use. And he's the new host. So that's what I always want to say is we are weekly deposit. We always want to deposit into your life. We don't want to withdraw. We want to deposit ideas. We want to deposit energy, positive energy. We want to deposit success. So I hope you guys join us on our next episode, and a pleasure to have you all.
Thank you.
All right, we're out.